Welcome, everyone, to From the Ground Up. I'm John Boytnott, your host. This podcast is about how entrepreneurs can run their businesses better, and we talk to leaders and entrepreneurs and business owners all over the world. And today we're joined by the city manager of Riverside, California, Mike Futrell. How are you doing, Mike?
Fantastic, John. It's a great day in Riverside.
Yeah, California in springtime, it's a lovely place to be.
Absolutely.
You have a lot of experience running cities, helping to run cities in the state of California for many years now. You were a city manager in South San Francisco. Tell us more about your background, yourself, and where you're at now, what you're doing.
Well, it's been a great adventure, frankly, this life. I started out as a submarine officer in the Navy in the North Atlantic, and then from there practiced corporate law for 10 years. Then went to work in the United States Senate, then had a great opportunity to go to Hawaii and operate the utility company there. And then from there on to South San Francisco. Along the way, I did run the city of Baton Rouge. I was elected twice to the Louisiana House of Representatives. Feels like a dozen lifetimes, but all of that experience I'm putting to work here in Riverside.
Well, yeah. How does that experience inform your work helping to running cities in a popular state like California?
Well, if you add it all up, most of my work has been in the private sector, and that really does inform what I do here because I understand how business works, how entrepreneurs think, and I bring that entrepreneurial spirit to city government, where we try to move fast and break things, not so much. But it does make for an exciting life. So certainly my legal background helps a lot. The utility background, because we do own our own electric and water utility here. And then just running a city with 3,000 employees, $1.7 billion budget. It's a heck of a lot of fun.
Well, one thing that you're doing, as a person who ran the city of South San Francisco for 9 years, you have experience bringing, sort of eco and tech and biotechnology, injecting that into the fabric of the cities where you work. Tell me about that. How does that inform your work now with Riverside, the South San Francisco piece specifically?
I loved working in Silicon Valley and South San Francisco specifically. The entrepreneurial spirit there is just palpable. You can feel it in the air and it's exciting. But you do learn how the wheels of that turn with talent development coming out of UC Berkeley and Stanford and UCSF, along with the quality of life and then just the ecosystem that you build. So I'm very blessed to have worked there and built up the largest life science research cluster in the world, frankly, with biotech. Took all of that experience and brought it here. We're here. We've got 4-year universities, really robust community college. So every day, about 80,000 college students and a high quality of life and, frankly, affordable housing. So taking all that from the Bay Area, bringing it here, and it's tech of a different kind, but we're definitely building up a really strong tech eco center here with a lot of startups and incubators. It continues to be fun.
Yeah. So many of these cities in California used to be sort of citrus oriented. I mean, I live in Castro Valley, California, which, you go around to the different houses in the neighborhoods and you see trees in the backyard that are citrus trees, giving an indication that this was all once like citrus land and crops. But obviously, one of the things you're doing is you're working on creating a transition to, a more technology, laden future. What are some of the primary ways that you guys do that? You talked about incubators. What's that scene looking like there in Riverside?
Well, it's very much like what I saw in Silicon Valley, which it starts with the universities and the research that comes out of there, and then building a tech bridge so that those innovations and discoveries in the universities can then make it into the private sector, teaching entrepreneurship and supporting small entrepreneurs, whether they're coming out of the university or not, and then hoping one of them strikes it big. That'll be the next, Google or the next Genentech coming out of there. So primary focuses are really green tech. And we've had a lot of great success. with entrepreneurs coming out with new battery technology. But we haven't lost our agricultural roots. The city is in partnership with the universities building an agricultural innovation center right now. It's under construction for the next generation of agriculture. Very excited about that. For example, we are piloting greenhouses, nothing new there, but the entire skin of the greenhouse is also solar. So it's enough light to, of course, feed the plants, but it also collects enough light. And from those solar greenhouses, we have enough to power the entire facility. Really exciting innovations in the ag space.
That's fantastic. The different programs that you guys have going on, and the different ideas, and the different innovation, and overall, what's sort of the layout of the different business sectors that are present there? Obviously, there's agriculture, and just give us a brief layout of what you can find there in
Sure.
Riverside.
We are definitely deep into the green tech sector, and I think we're going to dominate that market. So we have several large research facilities here. California Air Resources Board has their largest research facility here. It's actually the largest net zero building in the world doing research. We also have the research centers coming out of the university. So that has yielded very specific private sector wins. For example, a company called Voltu came out of that. Their battery technology, they're opening a plant here that will employ 400 people building heavy duty electric vehicles. We also attracted from South Korea, Hyundai, an arm, Hyundai Rotem builds hydrogen powered trains, and they will start production in June. The city, we operate hydrogen stations. We're building a hydrogen depot. We're very big into that alternative energy with hydrogen. And then finally, Omeo, which is autonomous shuttle that operates at airports, recently relocated their headquarters from New Zealand to Riverside to build electric autonomous vehicles, which are now running around the city. So we have a really strong bent on alternative energy and research in that space. And, in Silicon Valley, a lot was invented, a lot was researched, not a lot was built. You build stuff, you go somewhere else. We do both, research and build it here. And it's a fun ecosystem to be in. And it's new, which has a lot of excitement. It almost felt as I left the Bay Area that so much of that tech and biotech world had matured that it almost become corporate. Here, that is not the case. You still have very exciting folks, 4 or 5 people get together, pop into an incubator, and see what can happen.
Yeah. What are some of the key economic benefits for businesses that, you kind of talked about a few of the opportunities there for businesses as they, deciding to go to Riverside? What are some of the key economic benefits? Let's say I'm an entrepreneur out there and I'm looking for a place to go to. Why would I choose Riverside as opposed to, let's not pick out any particular place, but why would I pick Riverside over other options?
Well, in the big picture, I'd say there's two. One, we're less expensive than anywhere else because we own our own electric and water companies. We have literally the lowest electric rates in California and the lowest water rates, and a lot of water. Our housing is affordable. It's a high quality of life. It's a great place to live. But there's also, the city is hungry. The city is hungry to succeed. So you have a very pro-entrepreneurial city council, very cooperative universities that want to partner with people and help them succeed. So, that old saying, we're number 2, so we try harder. We bend over backwards for the small entrepreneur and the startup to give them what they need, to give them seed funding, to help them find the space, because we want to succeed as a city. And I'll tell you, in my experience, there are not a lot of cities that are like that. Mostly they're NIMBYs. Don't come here, don't build, we don't want housing, we like it just the way it is. No, we're striving to the mountaintop, we're building housing, and we want people to come here and bring that energy because we certainly have it.
Yeah. as far as sustainability practices go, it's interesting to hear you talk about how important that is. It's not something that you always hear about as being important, from various other cities, especially. But, has it been difficult to get the state or the community behind that, or what's that process been like?
It has not been difficult. And actually, 2 years ago, the city itself, we were named the #1 green fleet in the nation. So we walk the walk as a city government when it comes to that. We use hydrogen, compressed natural gas, of course, lots of electric. But again, you've got research facilities here that are completely focused 100% on alternative energy. And again, I'll bring up California Air Resources Board. They built their facility here about 8 years ago, so it's not that old, but it's huge. They have 3 bays that are big enough to put a full 18-wheeler in there and test electric 18-wheelers. So it's just the center of green power for California, and I think rapidly becoming the center for the nation. In fact, there's a company called Green Power, which just relocated here. They build electric school buses and electric shuttles.
In the past, you worked, in Hawaii, which must have been,
Yes,
had its, a lot of good aspects to that. But you ran the natural gas company there on the
yes.
islands, and I suppose what were some of the, a lot of the reason why people, show up and watch this podcast as they do is to get advice on how to run their business, or just get a sense of how the entrepreneurs are out there. And you've been an entrepreneur and a CEO and all the rest of that. What are some of the, I suppose, key things that you picked up along the way from that experience in Hawaii, maybe, or South San Francisco as well, that are informing your decisions every day these days in Riverside?
Well, I think big, and I have a pretty high risk tolerance, but I do like to, as they say, fail fast. So we will try a lot of things. We'll try anything once. We'll look at the risk. We'll give it a shot. If it doesn't work, that's fine. We'll learn lessons and we'll pivot and move off. So really, it's that lack of fear that you have to have. And that's what makes the difference. And you have to accept sometimes it doesn't work out. But win or learn, never lose. We're going to learn from everything we do, whether it works out or not. I have found a lot of people very, very uncomfortable with that concept. That they're going to get in trouble or bad things will happen if it doesn't work out. So you create a culture where people are willing to try new things, try to innovate, and there's no punishment for failure as long as you're learning a lesson and moving on. So to me, that's exciting. And through that, we've really done some really cool things and blown people's minds that, well, we've never done it that way before. And it really did work out and nothing bad happened. So that to me is what makes it fun. And we try to keep an entrepreneurial spirit, even though we are government.
Yeah, it's definitely a mix. You want to if you're working in the government, you have a stable job. It's a little bit tough to see these sort of bright ideas come along that could change everything, and it's not always something that most people out there don't have the vision to see what can possibly possibly happen in the future.
Well, I will tell you, if you go to the rank and file, they have a lot of good ideas.
Hmm.
But in the past, those ideas were always shot down, always discouraged. We are government. And so they stopped talking. They stopped sharing those ideas. You need to unleash that and create a culture of collaboration and not fear. And you really get some great ideas from the most unusual places.
Yeah, and the best way to do that is to obviously talk to folks one on one. But how else do you pull those ideas out? Do you, meetings, or what are your thoughts on how the best ways to pull those ideas? I say, if you have an entrepreneur out there looking for ways to get ideas out of their employees on new initiatives that they're running in the company,
Yeah.
yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Well, there's no single way to do that. I mean, I have an open door policy. I try to meet with as many people as possible, but I have 3,000 employees. So you've got to build that same mindset all the way from the top to the bottom. And so you have your frontline supervisors who may supervise maybe 10, 12 people, that supervisor needs to have that same mentality, and then a mechanism where it can work its way up the chain. Last year, we actually pulled all 3,000 people together over a full day and broke into workshops, took over the entire convention center, and that was a tabletop exercise where people actually could talk and write down these ideas and tackle small problems and then move those up the chain. Can't do that every day, but I wanted to make a statement that this is how we should operate and have that information flow. So
Yeah.
that is the most difficult part, frankly, when you have a large organization, to have everyone and then have those ideas actually get up to people who can make decisions. I don't know that we do it perfectly. Ideas do flow, but I do worry that some maybe stop somewhere along the way because you don't know what you don't know. Comes
Yeah.
to
Yeah, I write for Entrepreneur and a few other publications part time, and one of the story pegs that they had me considering was the summer retreat or just taking retreats or that type of thing where the entire company takes a look, gets together at a conference center or something along those lines, and they discuss everything, or there's some sort of organization around that, and they figure out what the upcoming initiatives are, how everyone feels about them, thoughts, opinions, feelings, all the rest of it. But yeah, so you're reminding me of that. Sounds like you guys are making an effort in that area, and it's working pretty well. Speaking of initiatives, what for 2025 and beyond in the coming years, what are the big key initiatives that the city of Riverside is looking to accomplish?
Well, we're still leaning into the green space specifically, but we've also got a couple of exciting things going on. We have just kicked off the Blue Zones initiative. So collectively, we raised with others $20 million. If you're familiar with Blue Zones, the concept that through good living and working in your community, you can expand the quality of life and expand the lifespan of the people living in your city. This came out of the city of Loma Linda, where they discovered, why are so many people living to be 100 and more? And Okinawa, why are they living to be 100 years or more? And from that came the Blue Zone initiative. And we had just kicked that off this year in the city of Riverside. Focusing on the built environment of bike paths and running trails and park opportunities. We have 63 parks, over 3,000 acres of parkland in Riverside. Um, Pretty stoked about that. And I hope to live quality of life over 100. So
Me
that's
too.
moving forward. Also, really focused on economic development and what we've been discussing. And the three parts of that: quality of life, you got to have a wonderful place for people to live, bearing down on that. Number two is the talent pool, working with our 4U universities, the community college. We have the #1 STEM high school in the state of California. How do we focus people on the jobs of the future? What are the jobs of the future? With artificial intelligence and robotics, that's really hard to understand, but how do you align your universities and high schools in the right direction? And then finally, hustling to bring those jobs and entrepreneurs here and building as many homegrown entrepreneurs as possible. That's really our focus this year, is the homegrown entrepreneur and getting these college students excited and others so that they make us our home. And I do hope one day one or many of these will blow up into the next Amazon or Google or something, and then they'll have the resources to give back to this community.
Yeah. And in the meantime, attracting companies to Riverside would be a nice thing too. Anything you'd like, any sort of final parting message you'd like to give to any entrepreneurs out there who are looking for a place to relocate to that might be a good candidate like Riverside?
I'd say a couple of things. One, give me a call because we are open and ready to talk to you. But come check us out. I think Riverside, for many, uh, they may have a preconceived notion of what this city is. We're inland Southern California. We're about 30 minutes from Disneyland, a little less than an hour from the beach. But come check us out. We've got some pretty cool stuff. Cheech Marin with Cheech and Chong become a world famous museum here, and we'll actually break ground on a second $45 million museum right across the street. Our art scene is really incredible here with art festivals, and we are worth a visit. And I like to say, if we can get the interview, we'll get the job. Come check out Riverside.
Sounds great, Mike. Mike Futrell, a wonderful place to live. I've definitely been down there, and worth checking out. The city manager of the city of Riverside. It's the 12th largest city in California, and great to have you on From the Ground Up.
Thank you, John. It's been fun.